Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Tuesday evening. Hope we're okay. Hope you're right. I hope the day has treated you well. Obviously, this is the Rangers Europa League preview, the Thursday night kickoff. We'll be talking about the game. We'll be talking about what style of football you expect from the manager of Rangers and what injuries they've got, and really sort of just, I guess, maybe talking about what's left in the Europa League right now, of just the league phase. So we'll talk about that in a minute as well. Obviously, have previously uploaded the loan roundup of the guys out on loan. Really good stuff this week. Really positive one this week. So if you're a bit down in the dumps because Spurs have made you down in the dumps, this is some good stuff. Check out that. It's a nice positive video. Yeah, let's jump in and let's talk Rangers. Rangers Spurs 8 p.m. Thursday night. Okay. It is match day 6 of the Europa League. And right now, Spurs are sitting in the first of the second tiered part of the league phase. They're in 9th. So that between 9th and 24th is a qualifying phase to get then into the knockouts. Okay. You could deem that the first round of the knockouts, but you know what I mean. Rangers are actually sitting in the last place of the first tier. They're sitting one place above us, and that is due to goal difference. Right now, Spurs have scored 10 and conceded 6, so theirs is 4. Rangers have scored 12 and conceded 6, so theirs is 6. There you go. You turn up to the Inside preview, and you get taught maths. Don't say I don't treat you. So is this game a must-win? Obviously, technically, no, it's not. It isn't a must-win. There is 2 other games to play. You win both those games. It's a different thing. So there's a few of you have even asked me, is Rangers a must-win? If we lose that game, what does that mean? If we win that game, what does that mean? And look, if I'm honest, it doesn't in theory mean too much because there's still 2 games to play and so much still to go on in the Europa League. Now, when we look at this Europa League and you factor in Spurs' fixtures. So you have, yes, Rangers on Thursday. You have Hoffenheim, who are 25th in the Europa League, which is they are the first of the automatically knocked out of the Europa League. And then we also have Elfsborg, who are 28th. So the next 2 teams are 25th and 28th, respectively. Okay. So if Spurs were to win any away game, in theory, it would be Hoffenheim and not Rangers, just purely based on what they've put out into the Europa League so far. Rangers have won 3, Hoffenheim have won 1, Elfsborg have won 1. Now, I think we will beat Elfsborg, so I'm not too worried about that game. That would give us 13 points right now. You have 2 games left. I think when I was looking at it, look, if you drew both those games, you should be fine and through. But I think you win at least one of those 2 games of Rangers and Hoffenheim. I do. Obviously, if I go to Spurs' fixtures for the Europa League, where are we? Right, so match day 7th is the 23rd of Jan, and match day 8 is actually the 30th of Jan. So it's a week apart. So we'll know a lot more really going into that game. So look, like I said, I don't think it's a be-all and end-all game against Rangers. But if you were to get a positive result, I think it would just ease a lot of fears. And I think it would probably leave you in a good spot for the knockouts, okay? Even Spurs, even Sonia, how are you both? So reality-wise, that's that. Now, when we look at Rangers' form leading into this game, for the last 5 games, they first of the 5, they drew at home to Dundee United 1-0. They then won away to Nice in the Europa League match day 5, 4-1. That would be one of the big reasons why they're above us, due to that big win away from home. They then won away to St Johnstone 1-0. They beat Kilmarnock 6-0. Kilmarnock, sorry. And then they won 3-0 away to Ross County. So looking at it, they conceded 2 goals in those 5 games. They've scored 10, 15 goals in those 5 games. So they're coming in. They are scoring and they aren't conceding. I mean, even looking above that, the 2 games above that, they conceded only 1 goal. They scored 2. So, all in all, they're coming in with some goal scoring form. They're coming in with some defensive form, which, we'll come back to that in a minute. Okay. So look, there's what the Rangers fixtures look like at the moment, obviously, and everything. Looking at really the injury situation for Rangers, I came across who is it? Rangers News on Google, which I recommend if you're wanting to know a little bit more about Rangers and what the situation is at the club right now. Go have a look at that right this second. Looking at it, this is obviously a good page. They tell you where they expect it, and they'll be telling you what to see. They tell you all the stuff going into it, but then come to the injury news, which is fascinating. Now, Philippe Clement, who is the Rangers manager, hasn't said anything in terms of injuries. So Neresho Kasinwirjo. Wow, what a name. I might have mucked that up, so apologies. He is definitely out. He's out with a long-term injury, I believe. Whilst Tom Lawrence is also recovering from injury. Oscar Cortez is a doubt despite returning to the first team training with Rabbi Matondo joins Danilo and Yanis Hadji. Absolute legend Hadji is. In not being registered for the competition. So they're missing those 5 players. Obviously, I'm not going to worry about what they say about our team news right this second. I'll probably be able to give you some decent information on that. I'm going to come to some of their stats in just a minute. But, look, they're missing some players. Maybe not as much as we are, but they're missing players. And let's be honest, there is obviously a difference in terms of squad ability. Even with Spurs' injuries, you do look at some of the players that are in Spurs' squad and think you should go out there still win this game. Now, obviously, away to Scotland in European fixtures, and I mean not away in terms of national team Scotland, I just mean their clubs. So you really think it's Celtic and Rangers. The Ibrox and Celtic Park being, 50 to 55,000 seater stadiums, good atmospheres, intense. But I think I watched Celtic play Rangers earlier on this season. And I think it was one of those games where anything that could go wrong for Rangers did go wrong. So I don't always look at that as a really defining factor about Rangers or any club, really. One game does not, obviously, tell you everything about their season. The one thing I would say, and now I think this is obviously down to Celtic's dominance in the SPL. I think you might sit there and say Rangers somewhat struggling at the moment a little bit, but also Aberdeen are doing very well. So Rangers are actually sitting 3rd in the SPL. So, everyone thinks of Celtic and Rangers. Rangers are separated by Aberdeen. So Celtic at the moment are on 43 points, Aberdeen on 34, and Rangers on 32. So Rangers are already 11 points behind in the SPL. They are 2 points behind Aberdeen with a game in hand. So even if they won that, they're probably still going to be 11 points behind Celtic. And, okay, fine, they're 1 point ahead of Aberdeen. So I think, you might sit there and say they're somewhat struggling there. They've conceded 9 goals in the SPL all season. They've scored 27. So they're scoring just under 2 every single game with, I guess you could say, conceding 2/3 of a goal every single game. I mean, Celtics is 44-4. That's ridiculous in 15 games. What the hell is going on there? But there's their league table. Missed a few comments. Sorry. I'm good. Thanks, Sonia. It'd be good to get the win for the last minute. Win is a win. Beating Rangers will boost team morale and take some pressure off Ange. Spurs are a team that can beat Rangers. It's about mentality. Big up, Andy. Thoughts on Spurs listening to Officer Basuma? I'm hearing covering January as a priority as well as a forward. I was going to do a video tomorrow. Actually, I was going to go live tomorrow and talk about it, Joshua. Just quickly, not surprised on Basuma. They were already talking about giving Bentancur a new contract months ago. Obviously, the stuff came out around his remarks around Sonny, which I think probably quietened it down a bit. I think we all knew defensive cover was going to be something to look at. And obviously, I know about the chat around the attacker, which we'll have to see what that truly means. Is it a striker? Is it a winger? We don't know. But yeah, I was going to do a video on it tomorrow, having a proper live and chatting about it. But look, on the Rangers side of things, look, they are somewhat healthy. That is something that we need to take into account in this. When I was looking at Ross County away, which was last weekend, supposedly they played a 4-1-4-1, which is a bit of a different one, I won't lie. But there are players that started in this game that obviously will not feature due to not being a part of the European squad. So I then sort of switched back to look at Kilmarnock at home, which they played 4-2-3-1. So they do somewhat change things up formations-wise, which I think we need to take into account that in game, they may change things. I was looking at a little bit about Philippe Clement, the Rangers manager, and kind of what style of manager he is. He gives me a bit of Ange vibes in terms of he's more of a man manager. I think players buy into him and in turn work harder for him. And obviously that's the thing with Ange. Ange is a great man manager. Players buy into him and in turn they go from there. In terms of the one thing I think I noticed when it came to sort of scrolling through his sort of football philosophy, his big thing is his pressure in terms of pressuring the opposition when they're on the ball. He goes with a man-to-man style pressuring. So, look, they're going to try and pressure the number 6. I can see the number 6 being Bissouma, if I'm honest. I'm going to come to that in a minute, but just hold off before I tell you why and why I think he'll be in the team. They're going to pressure him. It's the ability then to skip past that. And I think if you do skip past it, it's a bit like Spurs. If you can skip past maybe the first and sometimes the second level of press, you've got space. I think Spurs will probably have more of the ball. What you do with that then is another story. Because Rangers might go, they say, yeah, go on, you can have the ball. We're going to pick and choose when we press, and when we go, we're going to counter. Let's see how you handle us. So I go with that, and we'll see on that. Well, obviously, Spurs, we know Spurs are missing key players. Romero is now out. Vicario still out. Mickey van der Ven, they reckon it's tiredness in his hamstring, but we're going to see on that. Obviously, we're going to be missing Spence. He's not part of the European squad. But Bentancur will be returning. So you have a fresh Bentancur in for this game. There's no excuses for Bentancur not to play 90 minutes. He should be fresh, ready to go. Obviously, I think Sonny's played a lot of football recently. I'll be interested to see if he goes with Sonny to start or does he go for Timo Werner. Obviously, Mikey's still going to be out. And I'm missing someone else. Richarlison, that's the other big one. Lancashire should be back, obviously, into the squad. I don't foresee Lancashire starting in this game. I think Solanke's going to start up front. If I had to go and give you my team, it'd be Fraser Forster. If you want to talk about going to the Ibrox and play the guy that started at Celtic for years and years and years. Fraser Forster is going to be starting in this game. Defensively, Randu Dragic is going to have to start. You know, if Mickey can't go, then Archie Gray's probably playing centre half. That makes me disgusted to even say. I hate that I've even had to say that, but that's the God honest truth. Now, if Mickey can go again, then Mickey will start, which then we're putting pressure on Mickey to stay fit and healthy, which I have confidence he will, but it's not unfledgling confidence. There is part of me that goes, will he stay fit though? So there's that on that side of things. Fullbacks wise, if Mickey starts, then Archie Gray will probably play a fullback. If Mickey doesn't start, then it's going to be Destiny and Porro. Both of them will start because there is nobody else, which is appalling. But hey-ho. Midfield is a really interesting one. Midfield is definitely one that you can have a discussion on because I want to see a little bit of Lucas Bergvall. I do. Now, I think Bentancur is going to start because obviously having not played in the Premier League, he's fit and healthy. He's experienced. He's played in tough games, in tough atmospheres. This is a game that Bentancur should thrive in. So for me, he starts. Does Bissouma start as well with the fact that, well, do you know what? Biss is not going to be playing at the weekends. He's missing it due to suspension. Is then that we say, well, do you know what? Bissouma starts in the week, gives other players maybe time for more rest coming into the weekend. So at the weekend then with Southampton, they're fitter and ready to go. And, you know, if you do, let's say, start Maddison, I think Maddison might start this game, which I'll come to in a minute. But, you know, let's say Maddison and Kulu both don't start in this game. Then you might sit there and say, well, then you rest them for Saturday. Then they're raring and ready to go for Southampton. And I think Bergvall could start. I want Bergvall to start. I think it's safe to say Bentancur is going to play in this game because, well, do you know what? If you can only play in Europe, then use him. Bissouma's suspension, I think, changes a lot of things. I think maybe what they might have done is gone Bentancur, Bergvall, Maddison. Now, I think with the Bissouma suspension, Pape is going to be on the bench. He's not starting. They're going to be like, Pape has to play at the weekend. We need to save him if we can. It's a difficult atmosphere. I think one of those games where I think Madison would be needed in terms of, winning those fouls and the things that Harry used to do for us, winning fouls when you're under the cosh. And I think it's one thing maybe this season we've missed a little bit is winning some of those fouls under the cosh and get yourself 30 yards further up the field. Maybe that's a game. Maybe that's something that we go with Madison. I'm struggling because I would like Bergvall to start, but I don't know. The attacking three. The attacking three, look, I think Timo Werner's going to play this game because I think Son needs a rest. I think Son might be on the bench, but I think Son needs a rest. And if we can, let's say, not even use him at all this game, put Timo out on the left. Ironically, Timo in the last couple, I mean, I'm not going to use Chelsea away because they put him out on the right. But when he did feature out on the left last time, he actually looked pretty damn lively. And he was actually one of our better players that game. He's fitter than Sonny. Play him. If you need someone to come off the bench in the 60th minute, then you do that. I think that's the way you go. Solanke looks like he's probably going to be starting this game. Yeah. And then right wing, I'd probably go Johnson. Actually, that's depressing. That no offense. Obviously, look, I'm a positive person. I think you can win any game as a Tottenham team. It's the irony that you could also do anything completely other than that as well, which is the irony of it all. But that, for me, I should be looking at it going, Archie Gray's playing in midfield. Bergvall's going to be playing in midfield. Yeah, get that Patrick Dorgu in at left back. And then if Archie Gray has to play centre back because, you're Jurgen, Romero, Mickey, Ben Davies, and maybe another centre back gone. I get it. But I'm like, I would love to see that. I'd love to see Richarlison up front in a game like this. I think this would be an absolute Richarlison game down to a T. It's those things that we're crucially missing, and it's painful. By the way, one thing, actually, I'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow because, some absolute weirdos are in the world at the moment. You start on Bergvall, in your opinion. Fair enough. Hey, Peter, how are you, mate? Biss owes us a great game. He definitely does. I'm curious who would bring at left back and left centre back and what forward. Well, that's what I mean, Joshua. We'll talk about it tomorrow, mate. We'll talk about it tomorrow because I've got a few ideas, but I want to have a sleep on it. You have pain feeling. You feel my pain, sorry. Yeah. Do you know what? I'd love to be sitting here where we can rotate to like 8 players and have confidence in that, but we can't. Hell, I can barely rotate 2 players and have any confidence. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, really, with this. Obviously, I think for the most part this season with Rangers, they've been pretty solid in terms of, the goal scoring and conceding. Because I think if you actually look at like Celtic and just go, just remove Celtic out of this equation right now, because their stats are beyond bonkers. If you look at Rangers as a whole, they're sitting in thirds and they got the second best defense in the league and, I guess the second best attack in the league or whatever it is, but, they're having a good season on that side of things. It's kind of like a bit like Spurs in that regard, good attack and good defense on paper. Wait for someone to cry at me in the comments. Actually, our defense is not very good. Shut up. I think, the game that I watched them when they played Celtic, I'm not going to take anything in that game as gospel because I just think one of those games away to Celtic as Rangers, if you ever seen an Old Firm derby, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I really implore you between now and Thursday, just quickly check out some Celtic versus Rangers highlights and do it and see at Celtic Park and see it at Rangers. It's a fabulous game. I love the Old Firm. It's normally at 12:30 on a Saturday as well on Sky. I remember that so often. I used to love watching those games. It was feisty. It was fierce. And these teams are like that. Celtic and Rangers, they're feisty. They can kick lumps out of you. They can play their stuff, but they're up for it. And we got to be up for it. I think if we win these 2 games, it'll be a chip off our shoulder. Look, if you win this game, if you think about it, right? Let me bring up Europa League, the Europa League table. Sorry, 1 minute. Because I want to back my thoughts here. Rangers, obviously, look, Rangers have got a goal difference of +2 on us. That's all they've got because we're on the same points. It's a 6-pointer in a weird way because if you beat Rangers, you send them down the table because, from the team below us has 10 points. The next 3 teams, which includes Man United, are 1 point behind us. The next 2 after that have 2 points behind us. And basically, 20th and to 10th are either level on points with us or they're 3 points behind us. So winning this game, because you're going to think at least a few of those are going to win their game or pick up positive points. So if you lose this game, there's a chance that you're sitting in the middle of that pack. And therefore, your destiny potentially may no longer be in your hands. If you were to draw this game, let's go in the middle. If you were to draw this game, you're 11 points from the 6. You've got Elfsborg that you should win, which will give you 14, and then Hoffenheim, who, look, they're struggling a little bit. I don't know how they're doing in the Bundesliga. They're 14th in the Bundesliga. They won 3 games this season. They lost 6. They played 13 games. They've won 3. Look, they're not doing well. We should really win that game, if I'm honest. On paper, we should win that game. And that's the game, if we were to win an away game out of the 2, this one and the next, it would be that one. But if we were to pick up a point, and Rangers and Spurs are both on 11, there's going to be a few teams above us going to win. You might even see Spurs drop just a little bit more in the competition. Is it still in your hands? You would say probably yes if you win your next 2 games. There's not enough teams above you that are going to do the same. But if you were to win this game, and therefore, between 10th and 4th is 1 point. Between 10th and 1st is 3 points. We are only 3 points off of top. You win this game, you win Elfsborg, you'd probably sit there and say, you're good. You're good. I think if you were to draw this game, you'd beat Elfsborg, and let's say you draw with Hoffenheim, you got 5 points. I think you might not just be good. I think you need to get 16 points. I think you need 2 wins from the next 3, and I think would be okay then. So we'll see. No, Moore will still be out. He's ill. He's ill still. We don't know what is up with Mikey, and I'm not gonna even guess to what it is. He's a young kid, deserves all the time in the world to get himself healthy. That's the important thing. His health is way more important than any moany Spurs fans in this world. I'm not saying anyone here is. I'm just saying in general. Too many Spurs fans giving him stick. 17 years old. Give the kid a break. Stop being a miserable adult, all right? So look, in this game, what do I think the scoreline is going to be? I actually think Spurs are going to draw this game. I think it's going to be 2-2, just like last time. And I think it's going to be a game where Spurs come from behind. I think it's going to be a 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2 kind of vibe. Goal scorers. I think Bentancur. If Bissouma plays, Bentancur plays further forward, so I can see Bentancur. If Bissouma doesn't start as Bergvall, then I would say maybe it's Maddison and Solanke. They're the 2 that I'm going to go for. It's a tough one. It's going to be a tough night at the office, potentially. So I thought it was Spurs news. It's not. Don't worry. Ignore me. I'm not fully confident in this game, but, these are the games where if you want to be a top team, I'm not saying you have to win it. You have to go out there and absolutely dominate it. And if, you struggle to break them down and it's a 1-1 game, then it's a 1-1 game. It's not the end of the world. But if you go out there and you lose 3-1, are you sitting there confident that you're going to be there or thereabouts towards the end of the season? I wouldn't be. I would not be. But look, let's wait and see. Get your comments in down below. Your thoughts and feelings about the game ahead. And I'll speak to you all tomorrow morning to speak some more transfer news. So join me tomorrow morning for that. And I'll speak to you all then. Take care, everyone. Peace.